Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to this Monday morning with Business Coach Malloy. And we are on our marketing series under Entrepreneurial Essentials. We are on episode 10. And today we draw curtains on this marketing series that we have been running over the past 10 weeks. We have looked into multiple things during this course of the 10 weeks. And now we want to build this marketing to sales growth engine from chasing businesses to becoming the business people naturally think of. Slightly emotional session for me because over the last few weeks, we have been on this journey together. And if you notice carefully, we didn't really discuss marketing in the traditional sense. We didn't spend time discussing algos. We didn't obsess over social media. We didn't speak about viral hacks. We didn't talk about tricks. We discussed something much, much deeper: how businesses are perceived, how trust is built, how clarity changes conversations, how positioning affects pricing, how visibility affects confidence, how communication affects trust, and how trust affects conversion. And today I want to step back and connect all the dots together, not as isolated ideas, but as one complete business journey, because mature entrepreneurs like you eventually realize something very important. Growth is never created by one activity. It is created when many small things align consistently over time. I remember many years back visiting a manufacturing business owner, a very experienced gentleman, second generation entrepreneur, highly respected in his industry. He had a beautiful office, a strong infra, good products, capable team. But during the conversation, he suddenly became very emotional and said something very honestly. He said, "Malloy, we work very hard because business still feels unpredictable." And that sentence stayed with me because today morning, as I was driving into work, something unpredictable happened. And this kind of unpredictability, whether with clients, whether with the ecosystems, whether with uh, whether with teams, whether with infra, can always come in. And then I realized he was not talking about revenue. He was talking about his emotional exhaustion. Some months inquiries were flowing, some months everything slowed down, some clients negotiated heavily, some leads disappeared after long discussions. And he said something that I think many entrepreneurs silently feel. Why does growth still feel so dependent on pushing? Now, this is important because growth depends only on effort, and the founder becomes the engine. And the founder can only push so much and no more. The real shift in business happens when growth stops depending only on effort and it starts depending on structure. When the business starts creating momentum where customers understand you faster, trust you earlier, choose you with less resistance, that is what we really have been building through this entire series. Let's go back to episode 1. And we said something very simple. Marketing is not promotion, marketing is positioning. And that single idea changed everything for a lot of people. Because if the market does not understand you clearly, sales becomes difficult. Customers compare you randomly, price becomes the conversation, trust takes longer, and the opportunity feels like hard work. And then we spoke about defining the market. The business that strongly grow are not the businesses serving the largest market. They're often the businesses that clearly serve a defined market because clarity creates relevance and that relevance creates trust. As we move forward, we spoke about differentiation because that's where a lot of entrepreneurs become uncomfortable. Most businesses sound the same: good quality, excellent service, customer focused. Everybody says it. But when everybody sounds similar, Customers choose on price, convenience, or familiarity. So the differentiation became the work of answering one powerful question: why should someone choose you specifically over others? And as we move forward, we came to my favorite conversation: your one sentence market identity. Such a simple idea, but yet such a difficult exercise for a lot of entrepreneurs. Because we realize if we can't explain ourselves clearly, the market cannot remember us clearly. And businesses that are not remembered clearly struggle to grow predictably. And then we moved on into consistency and visibility. And that's where entrepreneurs had a real breakthrough, because they realized visibility is not about being seen everywhere, it is about being remembered correctly. That line is important: not visibility, correct visibility, not noise, not random activity, but consistent reinforcement of a clear identity. And then came trust. And this was perhaps the most emotional center of the entire series, because we realized something very important. Being known is not the same as being trusted, and being trusted is not the same as being chosen. Trust is built slowly through behavior, through consistency, through alignment. And once that trust becomes strong, business conversations become calmer. And we discussed inquiries and we discussed closing, because marketing and sales start truly meeting each other here. Many businesses don't lose opportunities because of poor products. They lose them because the experience breaks trust. The first conversations feels rushed. The follow-ups feel desperate. The closing feel pressured. And suddenly the customer feels something is off. And he steps back. And then we complain, customer is ghosting us. Let's take a pause here for a minute, ladies and gentlemen, because I want you to notice what we built through this series. This was not a marketing course. This was a design for your growth system. A system where the market understands you, the right customers notice you, trust develops naturally, sales conversations become easier, and business becomes more predictable. A growth engine is when your business stops depending on an isolated effort and starts creating momentum through alignment. Where your positioning attracts the right people, your visibility creates familiarity, your communication builds trust, your inquiry handling strengthens confidence, and your sales process helps customers move forward comfortably. That is your growth engine. If that is my growth engine, then why do businesses still feel heavy? And let's talk very honestly. Why do many mature businesses still feel heavy operationally? Because the founder is still carrying too much. The founder explains the positioning, the founder builds relationship, the founder closes key deals, the founder drives momentum, which means growth still depends on personal energy, and that is exhausting. Mature businesses will have to reduce the founder dependence, not because the founder becomes unimportant, but because the business itself becomes understandable. The team speaks clearly, the communication is aligned, the customer experience reinforces trust, and gradually, over time, and it takes time, the market starts responding to the business itself, not only to the founder. And that is the most important transition. So, what do most powerful businesses have in common? Calmness. Not inactivity, calmness. The growth may not always look dramatic externally, but internally there is clarity. The market understands them, the team understands them, customers understands them, and because of that, they don't need to constantly chase attention. And I want to say this very clearly: you don't build market trust in 30 days. You build it through consistency over time, through repeated behavior, repeated clarity, repeated experience. That is why serious businesses think in years and not in weeks. Today, as we conclude this marketing series, but honestly, marketing and sales are still only part of the picture. Because once the business becomes visible, trusted, and capable of generating growth, a new challenge comes up. And the challenge most growing businesses eventually face: execution, scale, people, culture, leadership. Because growth creates complexity. And when many businesses that grow successfully from the outside start becoming chaotic internally. And this is the direction of our next series. In our next series, I want to move into something deeper and even more important for serious entrepreneurs: building scalable businesses without losing control. We will talk about leadership maturity, systems, team alignment, delegation, decision making, execution discipline, reducing founder dependency, and how a business transition from a hustle driven to a structure driven growth. Because generating growth is one challenge, sustaining growth is another. So, as I close today with a lot of emotions, I want you to reflect on one simple question: is your business still dependent on effort? Or is it slowly moving into a system driven momentum naturally? Because that transition changes everything. My final thoughts about the marketing series: marketing attracts attention, sales converts confidence, but systems sustain growth. And that is the journey that we begin next, as we look into building a scalable business where we move on from being chaotic inside to stable outside. Thank you for being part of this series on marketing. I hope you genuinely enjoyed the conversations. I got a lot of feedback on these conversations, and I look forward to beginning the next journey with all of you on next Monday, same place, same time. Till then, God bless. Have a fantastic week, and I shall see you on the other side.